morning, all. Welcome all for the fifth and final day of 5 days on mathematical concepts using free open source softwares FOSS. We continue learning with some more concepts in today's session. Now I request the resource person, Dr. K. Madhu, Research Analyst, Bangalore Analytical Research Center, to continue with today's session. Continue, sir.
Thank you, sir. Good morning, everybody. Let me start the presentation. So today, we'll begin with some additional topics other than what we had thought in the beginning, that is graph theory and Fourier transforms and integral transforms, which we didn't have in the thing, but it is nice to discuss that.
Madhukar, sir.
Yes, sir.
Someone disturbed your presentation. I think you need to again.
Yeah, I will log in. Okay, sir. This is visible now, sir?
Oh, yes, sir. Now visible, sir.
Yeah. So let me continue. So till now, what we have done? In the first day, we had discussion from. So the entire FTP was set up very nicely by handling by Dr. G.K. Patra, sir, and he discussed about mathematical modeling and use of Python for mathematical modeling and data deep learning techniques and so on. Then we started with data visualization. So we did some basic data visualization using Matplotlib and then Pandas. Then we used Seaball. Other data visualization tools are also there in Python, which we didn't discuss. That is Plotly and ggplot. But there are these are basic data visualization. There are dynamic data visualization, which we can see, which we didn't touch upon. So data visualization, you have advanced data visualization, dynamic data visualization. The question which was asked to me, like, can we handle live data for spectrum analysis or something was asked. Yeah, you can do that. There is something called as dynamic data visualization. So advanced data visualization, wherein you do ARIMA model, autoregressive, integrated moving average, and regression autocorrelation, and so on. Then you have interactive data visualization by Plotly. So after we just discussed basic data visualization. Others, if you're interested, we can have it some other time, or you can go and refer some data visualization, which I'll be referring, which I'll be giving today, in the sense whose reference I'll be giving today. Then this third day we read about numerical methods and third day. So we did differential calculus. That was the fourth day. Okay. Today we did simple calculations, wherein we discussed about how the calculator part of Python can be used. In the sense, how Python can be used as a calculator. Then we did some matrices calculation, matrix calculation using NumPy and SymPy and SciPy. Then we did numerical methods. Under numerical methods, we did transcendental solutions, solutions to algebraic and transcendental equation. Then we did linear algebra under numerical methods and interpolation technique under the numerical methods. Day 4, yesterday, we discussed some more numerical problems. We did ordinary differential equation and integration using numerical methods, and we also told that partial differential equation can be handled using finite difference or finite elements and so on, which we are not discussing here because the programming is very lengthy for that. And partial differential equation could also be handled using general tool like SymPy, and only linear partial differential equations could be handled. Other ordinary differential equation, linear homogeneous and non-homogeneous, was also handled by SymPy. and we also solved Cauchy-Euler equation. Then some of the equations which are non-linear had to be written through numerical methods. That is, first order was discussed from Euler's modified and Runge-Kutta method. And we also told that using Runge-Kutta method or Euler's modified method, we can write the equation for Adams-Moulton and Adams-Bashforth and Milne method. So integration was also discussed on definite integral, double, triple, and quadrature rules were discussed. Then basic limits and continuity, differentiation, mean value theorems, and Taylor's. So we did we covered all the engineering aspect. The main purpose of our FDP is to introduce the mathematics practicals aspect to the engineering students, engineering and ME and MTech students, so that it's already there in Bangalore University. Like Bangalore University students do get to study the FOSS for mathematics, like as a mathematics practicals, they study in lab. So this could be extended. The possibility of extension of this to engineering students was the thought of this particular FDP. Probably you can take this home after the FDP or after today's session. So let's continue. Today we'll discuss about graph theory using Python, and I'll also try to give some probability and statistics things using Python. So let me go back to Spider. So graph theory, I'm not. I must confess, I am not a very good student of graph theory, but we did try uh, some commands using NetworkX, as I told you in last class. NetworkX.
Madhukar sir.
Yes, sir.
Presentation is not full screen, sir. Full screen.
Full screen, huh? That means I have to go back to present now.
Full
1
screen.
minute, sir. 1 minute, sir. Yeah, it is there. 1 minute, sir. Yeah, now? Now, sir? Hello?
Okay, sir, available.
It came back?
Coming, sir, coming.
Okay. So, the graph can be invoked by graph function in
Sir,
NetworkX.
someone
Yes,
disturbed the presentation. Again, it went off, sir.
sir. That's okay. I think this should be. So I've gone back to Spider. I think it's visible, sir.
Yes, sir, visible, sir.
Yeah. So here we have so many graph functions, graph theory functions. That is trees and graph theories, graphs and minimum spanning tree and other things can be plotted, can be visualized using NetworkX. So you need to import NetworkX. In case if NetworkX is not there, as usual, you need to do pip install NetworkX or conda install NetworkX. Then you need to visualize them on Matplotlib. So here I call the function graph under NetworkX as NX, and you need to add the nodes. So when you add nodes here, you need to add edge 1, 2, then DE is a name for edge, and so on. Then the node of the graph will be printed as G dot node, because G is the graph which you have called, and edge of the graph is G dot edges. Then you want to add the list G dot add edges from AC, CD, A1, 1D, A2, and so on. Then NX dot draw G. If we plot this, okay, plot this, and so we can save it as .eps file. So simple underscore part dot eps. If we draw this, we get the diagram in the plot. So let me show that. So it has plotted, and it would have saved as EPS file also. So this is the graph which we got for the nodes which we have considered. Similarly, path underscore graph 4. So if you have 4 nodes and 4 edges, I think, then you can plot the next one, that is nodes of the graph is 4 and connective edges will be 0, 1, 1, 2, 2, 3. Then the graph would look like this. Yeah, you get a straight line. So 0, 1, 2, 3 is being connected. So this is a path graph. And if you see, it would have been saved as path underscore graph1.png. You can also save it as EPS or JPEG and so on. All the parts can be saved. So next example of graph theory. So you can do digraphs. Okay, so let me draw one by one. Here you add the weight the edges as 1 2.5 and 3 1.75. Then you try to draw this. If you print answers and neighbors, next dot draw DG. So then next dot draw DG will give you the solution. Yeah, this last one. Draw next dot draw DG should give you the directed graph or digraph, that is. Yes, come like this. I think so many things are being plotted. Yeah, so many things are being plotted. I'm sorry. See here, nx dot draw G2, nx dot draw nx disjoint union. Everything is being plotted on one sheet, so therefore it is getting confused for us. I'll comment on all these things. So my aim is to plot only the directed graph which we have given, DG, that is. This is the directed graph DG, 120.5 to 31 0.75. So if you see 1 to 2 and 3 to 1, this is the length 0.75, I believe, and this is 0.5. The weight for that is that. Then if you remove one of the degree or one vertex you are removing and out and degree 1 with weight you are removing, then again when you draw this, let us check what you get. Okay, you get a different graph. Okay. Then we have path graph we have seen in the previous example. So this is about directed graph. We'll come back to directed graph in a moment. So let's comment this. So P is equal to nx dot path graph. So if you draw this, you will get a straight line, I believe, like this. So yeah, you get a straight line and different paths which shows that the cyclic graph you will get. P is x dot draw P2. So then the next one is cyclic graph. Yeah, this is a cyclic graph of 7 vertex. So you have 7 nodes. Then you have Peterson graph. There are other graphs also which are there. If you give the name graphs, they'll come anyhow. So like bipartite and uh, complete graphs and so on. So okay, 1 minute. I didn't draw Peterson graph. So this is the Peterson graph which Python with plots. Then I think subgraph it should work, but I don't know. DC has to be called. We'll comment upon this. NX dot draw NX dot subgraph PVT. In a straight line. Probably this is the graph of and the next one is union of P1 and P3. So if you do that, yeah, it says the node sets of G and H are not disjoint. Use appropriate tree name or disjoint union GH. So if we do disjoint union of P1 and P3, suppose disjoint union of G1 and P3, and what do you get? So you get G1 is cyclic graph and disjoint union of this is this. Obviously, because directed graph has 3 nodes and it has 7 nodes. Both are represented as disjoint. Then we try to see the Cartesian product between G1 and G2. The idea of this is that you can plot so many things on network X. So that's what I'm just showing some examples. You can create your own graphs also. There are inbuilt graphs here. Many graphs are there which we can take as examples. And you can create your problems. For your problems, you can create graphs. So like by giving the matrices and array for the edges and nodes and weights and so on. So this is compose NX dot compose G1 and G2. Then complement of G. Let us check this. Complement graph. This is the solution. So complement of G would be G is path graph of 4 and we had it in the opposite direction. I think that's what. An empty copy of G. If you do that, so there are no edges, only the 4 vertices of the path graph is given. Then if you want to remove the direction of directed graph, you can give NX to undirected DG. Then instead of being directed, it becomes undirected. That's yeah, get a graph like this. Then suppose you want to give direction to G2. G2 is Peterson graph, which we have considered. Yeah, so to direct it, you should get direction for that. Peterson graph connected, and you have direction map for every node. And then you have complete bipartite graph. Example of this form, where every node is connected to every other node. Then you have shortest path between amongst the directed graph, or you can give between print shortest path and draw shortest path. Here, oh, so give T2. Yeah, this is the path, and I don't need this drawing yet. Because, yeah, then I just even in the previous one, if you see, for DG also there was no edges, otherwise it would have. Then the minimal spanning tree by Prim's algorithm or Kruskal's algorithm can be plotted. So I'll show you for so it takes Kruskal's algorithm. See, the minimum spanning tree is this for the complete graph of 7 vertices. Then for bipartite, also something similar to this. Yeah. So there are 7 and 9 vertices. So if you see, there's one connection between them. Rest all is connected. These are few examples of graph theory problems. Now we'll go to probability and statistics. That's the last segment of today's discussion. And then I'll go back to some other FOSS techniques, like so FOSS tools, that is Scilab, Octave, GeoGebra, and Maxima. So we'll discuss about them too today. So here you can give random values by random. If you are importing random variable generators as it tells. So it gives random elements, random sample, and so on. So here you have defined a coin trial. So this is from DataQuest. So you are simulating heads and tails. So if you do this, then you get some. Okay, print this and see. So here, if you see, coin trial is the definition of the function, and we have given heads is equal to 0, count of heads is 0 initially. Then for 100 values, if random dot random is less than or equal to 0.5. So we know that if you toss the coin, the probability of coin is half. And if that is less than half, then you give heads is increase the heads count by 1, and then give the number of heads count. That's the thing. So simulate that. So trials is empty in the beginning. Then you append trials as the number of coin trials are taken. Then the range is given in the input. that is simulate 10 in the next command we have given. So then you take sum of trials by n, that would be the average of that particular thing, which it would give out as the returning value. So if you see that 49.7, so approximately 50% it has to be, but comes out to be 49.7, which is a good result for us. So if you simulate it for 100, and if you clear the screen, $49.59. So approximately near to 100 it is coming. So near to 0.5, that is 50% it is coming. So that is a good result for probability value. So this is about one example. Then we have statistics things, that is average in NP, that is NumPy. Then you have standard deviation STD. Then you have median, which can be computed. And there are other things also like distributive functions, cumulative distributive function, and probability distributive function, and Poisson and binomial also there. But not gone through that because of the data which I have. So, but you can explore them. So this is the data of 50,000 values which I've considered under panda pd.data frame. So example data.txt. Then we have found out average. Average is mu, and sigma is np.std of that particular data df1 which we have considered. Z is equal to df1 minus mu by sigma. So this is the thing which is considered in normal distribution. So I've written that, and we have got the value as minus 0.02779 or 0.278. And if you plot that, you get some curve like this. In log scale we have plotted. So, and we have given the value of median, sorry, not the average. Print Z means something else, wait one minute. Print Z means it prints the value of Z. So all these values 0, 1, 2, 3 and so on. So print Z means it would print the value. Just check here. If you give df1.info, then that means it gives the information about the data. The data has 50,000 points, non-null, floating point, and it starts with 3.5365 into 10 to the power minus 7. And next I gave print Z, so it gives the values of all the Z values. So if you see here, the last values are 0.027819. So approximately the average is also coming up to the value which is closely related to minus 0.027. So median is the center value of this particular data. So that is given by minus 0.277. So let me give what is the average of this. So if we print average, np dot average of Z, average of Z. Actually, average of df1 is what is required. Let me give Z. So it gives around minus 1.8854 into 10 to the power minus 17. So this is the average value of Z. Then you can find out standard deviation by giving STD. So finally, let us talk about this. Completes the session on Python, but I'll leave the fun part of Python at the end. So I wanted to discuss about animation. So I've written cardioid animation and so on. So this one I'll discuss later. But before that, we'll talk about outline of other FOSS like Scilab, WX Maxima, Octave, and GeoGebra and GNU Plot. Now GNU Plot is a plotting tool. This is available on Linux machines, and Octave has an inbuilt GNU Plot in that. If you download it for Octave, then you get GNU Plot along with Octave. And Scilab has only numerical routines, so you cannot compute any symbolic calculations in Scilab. Whereas WX Maxima is only symbolic calculations, so you cannot do any numerical calculation using WX Maxima, but you can do the substitution and get the value for the graphs or the differential equation solutions and so on. Whereas Octave is MATLAB. Octave is MATLAB. All the .m files which you run on MATLAB, you can run it freely on Octave, but it is not as robust as MATLAB because of being a free software. And GeoGebra is a plotting tool wherein you can visualize the simple geometries and line and curves and so on, which you can explain in the coordinate geometry thing for lower classes. But now I would like to tell about I would like to compare with Python all these four softwares. Of course, GeoGebra is not a programming software anyhow, but other three are, yes. Even GNU Plot you can do some sort of coding, but that's only for plotting. Scilab is only for numerical problems. So we can give some examples for that. Suppose so let me open Scilab. So its installation is all simple. Like you have to go to, it is a science laboratory. MATLAB is matrix laboratory. So Scilab is science laboratory. And you need to go to www.scilab.org and then download the 64-bit file for Windows. You can download it for Linux also. And in Linux, you need to go to terminal, and in terminal, you need to go to Scilab. So if you install Scilab, you get this console page, which is there here. Similar to any MATLAB or anything, the advantage of Scilab is that you need not declare any function like in C, or declare any variable like in C, or data structures like in Python or any other programming languages. So if you want to start off with X, is it visible, this console? I think this console is visible. Hello?
Yes,
yeah,
it is visible.
So, yeah, thank you. So suppose we need to write some program. For example, if you want to write a command like x is equal to 2, you can just directly do that. You don't have to declare them. And if you want to define a function, you start with function here. If you want to define a function, you start with function f of x. Okay. Then it comes down, then you end with the function. So you give f of x is equal to some x square, okay, x square plus 1, and you give end function here, so that ends the function. Okay, syntax end function. Okay, let me take out some of the programming which we have done earlier in order to save the time. Okay, so Python scripts. BMS site programs. Yeah, Scilab is here. So some example we can take from simple programs. We can do group theory also, as is mentioned here. Groups, differential equations, then area and volume volume we can find out, integration. But all are numerical techniques, not any symbolic toolbox here. No analytical technique can be performed on Scilab. So if you want to do some simple programs here like Fibonacci sequence and natural numbers parametric, so Pascal's triangle, so you can do them. So there are two types of files which you need to save in Scilab. One is .sce for execution, for executable file, and SCI for I think interactive file or something. I'm not sure of that. I'm sorry, but SCE is the usual standard file. Other thing is .sci file. So if you want to maybe Pascal's triangle will take. Okay, so we need to now we can edit them. We can edit. First of all, let me go to that space document. Okay, PD documents. Okay, now PD EMSI programs. Okay, now in this one we need to go to Scilab Maxima. So CD Scilab Maxima. So you give this maybe second one. As I told in most of the BSc colleges, they use Scilab and Maxima. That's the thing which they have introduced in Bangalore University. But we can also do it in Python. That's the thing which we wanted to show in the FTP. And Python is much user friendly than any other thing, though you have to declare the data and so on, but you have to import the file and so on, but it is more user friendly in terms of it can handle large data and it can handle uh, all the tools. Like you can do symbolic toolbox and you can use symbolic Python, you can use numerical Python, then you can do scientific calculations, and big data analysis also can be done. The need of today is Python because of big data which is there. So I emphasized on Python basically. Otherwise, we could have done it on other tools also like Scilab, Octave, and Maxima. But we'll show that anyhow. It's quite simple to do on these free open source softwares. So CD, Scilab. So here we have so many programs. So here we can take one such program here, edit. So edit is a command for editing this. So edit, maybe we can take Pascal's triangle. Yeah, Pascal's triangle. If we go to that, edit Pascal's triangle.sc, unexpected end of. Okay, so yeah, edit. There has to be an editor which opens. Okay, so you open this. Yeah, this is the editor. SciNotes is the editor. Now here, open this, and here we can open Pascal's triangle. Yeah. So if you see, this is here we have used while loop. So while q is less than num. So what is Pascal's triangle? Basically, it gives the binomial coefficients for powers. So like 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 3, 3, 1, 1, 4, 6, 4, 1, 1, 5, 5, 1, 5, 10, 10, 5, 1, and so on. So it is a plus b whole square coefficient, a plus b whole cube, and so on. So if you want to run this, you can click on run here, execute. So control plus shift plus E. So if you do this, Yeah, you can give yes. And see here. Number of elements, so we give 5, suppose, to get the Pascal. It's 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 3, 3, 1, 1, 4, 6, 4, 1, 8, a plus b whole to the power 4. So you need 5 values here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 values in there. 5 different. Any other program also can be taken. You can do matrix matrix computation, like you give any matrix, A is equal to some 3 cross 3 matrix, and you can compute A is equal to inverse of a matrix, and compute the matrix solution. And yeah, everything is possible on Scilab except for scientific calculation. But yeah, you can do group theory also. So something like Cayley's table, then subgroups and so on. So let me show you Cayley table for one thing. Cayley.sc. So here Cayley of n. So table for Z4, comma 4 it says, but you know, it can be done for any n. So if you once you execute this, so the same thing, 0 to n minus 1, then you need to give mod operation. So for I plus j, c is equal to I plus j. Here you need to give semicolon to end, like in the case of MATLAB. Whereas in Python you don't have to do that, and this indentation is not required for Scilab, but in Python you have to give the indentation. Here, if c is greater than or equal to n, then c is equal to c minus n, which is a mod operation. So if you do this, then if you give Control Shift E, so it executes, and you need to give KLA of maybe any value 5 plus 5. So get the KLA table 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 0, 2, 3, 4, 0, 1. So it's a abelian group which we know. Similarly, you can perform sine series sequences, for example, sequence of arithmetic progression from 1 to 3 to with common difference 3 and so on. So, if you again, no, so this is a script. In script, you can do this, and you have programming also, like functions also can be created. So let's go to some function. Say, for example, so we have fourth semester, I think. Normal school. Okay, let me open a small program. I think we can write a function. Yeah, so it comes as end function. The end function of function of x. So let's give end function after writing the return statement. So so we'll do some find discriminant for it. Simple program. Find discriminant. So this is a command. This is a command which we use even in C. So the same thing is used here. So say you say x is one value which you are considering. So you say f of x. So b square minus 4ac if you want, or okay, find some value of the function. Find the value of function. Find the value of f of x for given x. That's all. For given x. So so you can do that. So you write f of x. F is equal to uh, x2 plus cos x. Maybe some function. For the sake of knowing the Scilab function model, that's all. So end function for that. Suppose we execute this, we need to get semicolon. F of x is this. So suppose we execute this. So you save this as some example one dot s. So you give f. Okay, it's executed. So f of maybe I give 30 of 30. I didn't give print statement. So print f of 30 if I give print f of 30. Okay, print f of 30. Okay, I cleared the command. So I need to run it again. So execute this again. So we need to give this. Okay, we need to run it again. So go back to the editor. So run this, execute echo without echo. That is with echo means it will give the commands also on the console. So here if you give print f of 30, all number of input argument at least two. I'm sorry, what type. So if you put the pause, print f, print f, end function. So this, execute this, A1 yeah, 1.0 I used in the beginning. So f of 30. I'm sorry, but we can write functions in this Scilab. It's easy. Then next one we'll discuss about MATLAB. So sorry, Octave. Octave runs all the .m files as mentioned before. So suppose I close this. So you have GNU Octave. Okay. So so we're discussing about WX Maxima. Sorry, Octave. Octave has a Octave also can be downloaded from octave.org and so GNU Octave GUI. Okay, we'll go back to Python. The last thing, we can, yeah, okay, Octave came. So as I told, you can run any .m file here. So suppose I search for .m file. Okay, we need to go to desktop documents. Documents. SIT. And we have Euler km.m. This is Euler modified function. So if we execute that, Euler km. So let us see what we get. So we'll edit it first. Edit Euler Km. So this is some function we have. X takes the value from 0, 0 0.1 to 10, and value here. So okay. Okay, so as we come to the end of the session, and final thing, I wanted to show an animation in Python, which I'll do that in the last. But before that, what I wanted to explain, or what I wanted to conclude, is that though we have other FOSS techniques, Python is, according to me, the best among them. So Scilab, just for numerical calculations, you have to use WX Maxima for symbolic calculations. Octave does both, but it's not very robust. So comparatively, Python is the best. So we go back to Python, and we do some animation. So here we'll take up an example. So here you have some coil growth.gif. So the GIF image is being created. So the command for that is animate of I. So animate is called from matplotlib.animation as animation. So you give a dark background for that, and the npy.cost t plus 9. So suppose we do this, then so there should be a GIF file called GIF file called coilgrowth.gif. Coilgrowth.gif. So some animation. And other animations which were created using Python, something like this. Growing coil with matplotlib. Something like this. Polar coordinates. Three-leaf rows. And sine curve. So I stop here. Before ending, I would like to thank the coordinates of BMS IT for giving me this opportunity. I thank Dr. G.K. Patra for setting up the tone for the FTP, and Dr. Vijay Kumar and HOD and Principal of BMS IT. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Madhukar, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Sir, just participants are asking about the reference books.
Yeah, 1 minute. Let's hear that. 1 minute.
Hello?
Yes, ma'am. I'm sharing the reference book. I have mentioned 2 reference books here. I think 1 minute. I mentioned 2 reference books here. Okay. One is by Amit Saha. One book is by Amit Saha. Another one by Prabhanjan Tattar. And other help files can be found from GitHub, DataQuest, Kaggle, and other internet pages.
Yes, sir. Thank you. And one more thing, can you share the codes because participants are asking? So is it possible to share your codes? Means how that the Gauss elimination method, like that loops, then graph plotting that polar curves.
Yes, ma'am, that is possible, but I would suggest you to try it once if you don't mind. Then, if you want, I can give you my email ID. You can take the codes. Otherwise, it is possible to share. I don't have any problem.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Madhukar sir, once again. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for your wonderful time. In fact, a very difficult thing, we made it look like very simple. Discussing so many what to say softwares, mathematics applied things in a short span of time. Okay, it's not at all possible. We'll see. So many computational errors, or maybe the other requirements. So many things should be there. But you made it look like it's very simple. Okay, now thank you for your time. You are showing a path for us to learn mathematical concepts using Python, and you have given us a solid foundation for that. Now we try to build on that with our practice, daily routine. We'll make it. We try to see mathematics slightly in a different way. But thank you so much for your time, efforts, presentation. All these things looks to made us like think as Python as a very simple, easy thing. We can do anything in mathematics by using Python like this. It made us like that. Okay. Further, I wish to thank management, principal, all deans, faculty, and staff of BMSIT for their support and encouragement throughout. I wish to extend my thanks to HOD, Department of Mathematics, for giving an opportunity to organize the FTP. Coordinator Silakshmi TK for all the support in planning, brainstorming, preparation, execution throughout all these 5-6 days. And also my colleagues at the department for their help and timely advice. My sincere thanks to all participants without whom this would not have been possible. The attendance throughout the sessions is tremendous. Okay, it is giving an encouragement for us to try new things. Thank you one and all. We wish to see you in the next upcoming events of our department. Now we will be sharing the feedback link in the active here itself. Will be given sufficient time for that. You can give it, but make sure that you enter the details in a correct way. Certificates are printed automatically. It will be sent to your email IDs. When you try communicating through mails for certain participants, it's bouncing back. Few errors are there. Please note those things. It's very much difficult, actually impossible to rectify the errors. It's an automated generated thing. So you need to do the required entries carefully. Sufficient time will be given throughout the day. Don't worry about that. We ensure that everyone will receive the certificate. Once you get, you can exit from the group, WhatsApp group. Thank you, Madhukar sir. We'll continue.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll contact you for our further necessities. Thank you. Thank you.